to Revelations with Delusional Knitter. I'm Angela, your host, and this is episode 139. On to updates and housekeeping. Welcome if you are new. If you are returning, I thank you as always. And either way, I hope you enjoy and continue to watch the podcast. There is a Ravelry group, so if you're not already a member, please come on over there and join. And I was thinking I'm going to post a new thread called What You Working On? And we can all talk about our current projects and what we're doing. And just general chit-chat as well. Anything you're doing in life or whatever can go in there as well. So look for that. Hopefully I'll remember to do it after I record. The show is on iTunes, YouTube, and the website delusionalknitter.com. I did have to delete some old episodes from the website because I only have so much space. However, they're pretty old. They're from like 2014. So as I continue to add episodes, I'm just going to go way back and start deleting some because I keep running out of room. And there's just no reason for me to buy more space because all the old episodes, not all of them, but a lot of them are on YouTube. So if you're just starting and you want to go back, there's plenty on YouTube. Maybe eventually I'll put some of the older ones up there. Probably not, because they were horrible before I figured out how to do this better. So, but there's plenty. It goes all the way back to like 2014, so that's plenty. I'm also on Instagram as Delusional Knitter, and I think that's it. So declarations, what's been going on? I haven't recorded since the beginning of July, because I said I was going to take a little bit of a break over the summer, and instead of doing it every other week, probably just do once a month. Tour de Fleece happened, and I have a lot to talk about in that later on. We did go up to my in-laws the other weekend. They had a bunch of family up, and we had a really good time. I actually sang karaoke, which I would never do, but I was probably had a little bit of rum, so that helped. But it was fun. It was really fun. We were just goofing off and having a good time. It's been so hot. I'm sure it has for lots of other people too, but it's been crazy here. Like, everybody has brown lawns. Ours isn't too bad because we're in the woods, so we really didn't have a lawn to begin with. We have a lot of dirt and a lot of crabgrass and a lot of, woodsy type lawn, but we do have some lawn, but our flowers are horrible. We usually get a lot of butterflies. We have like one of each type that we see, and that's it. Because my husband, when we moved here, planted a lot of stuff to attract butterflies, and we usually get some really interesting looking ones. But it's been so horrible. It's so dry. And we've even tried to go out and water stuff with the hose, but it's just, if it's 95 and sunny for like 3 weeks, it doesn't matter how often you go out with the hose. And like, it's kind of a drought, so you also don't want to just use up all this water that, isn't there, so. But yeah, it's been crazy hot. I do also have the Ask Away thread on the board. There haven't been any questions recently, but that is also there on the Ravelry group. Ask Away, you can ask me any questions you want, and then I'll answer them on the podcast. Revelations. I have an FO. Oh good, I put it right here. I have so much stuff around me. I was trying to gather up before I started, and hopefully most of it's in reach, but I do have an FO. I was working on the Moab shawl, which is out of my hand spun. That was a loop bump called Sugar Plum, and I finally finished it. I do have to cut the ends. I was weaving them in, but I have to cut them. I didn't know if I wanted to weave them in a little bit more before I cut them. So this is Moab, and it's a nice, I don't know what it is. It's not quite a triangle. It's one of those, whatever they are. But it came out really good. I really liked how the pattern went with the, just worked with the colors and the yarn. And this was one of my first hand spun, so it's not great. The beginning's really nice and soft and fluffy because it was a little underspun and underplied. And, or it went no, I think it went that way. And then the end is thicker yarn, and it's also overspun and overplied, so it's almost like rope it was knitting with. But it came out fine, and it blocked out fine, and everything's good, and I like it a lot. It's really heavy. It's got a lot of weight to it. Even though it's pretty much fingering. Towards the end, it might have been closer to sport, but it came out good, and it's got some nice sparklies in it. So that's that shawl. And what else? Oh, I started a new shawl that's actually, I'm just going to fling that. That's actually a knit-along, and Hiya, the group on Ravelry, they do a lot of knit-alongs, and pretty much they have prizes, but also what they do is if you complete the project by the deadline, and they usually give you like 2 months, so you have plenty of time to do it, you get the pattern for free. And your agreement is that if you don't complete the project by the deadline, the end of the knit along, then you will purchase the pattern from the designer. I had done one earlier this year, that peacock shawl, that beaded peacock shawl that I did was one of those on that board. And this one is called Take It All, and it was a mystery knit along. And now it's not. It's done with the mystery, so there's pictures of the finished projects all over the place. But it's a multicolored shawl. You can use scrap leftovers that you have if you have enough per each color. Now, my yarn stash for socks is primarily self-striping or very heavily variegated, which is not going to work at all for the shawl. So I dyed some yarn. It was a lot of fun, and I used, I don't have a setup in my basement anymore since we had some construction, or deconstruction I should say, done. So I like to dye in the kitchen, so I like to use Kool-Aid or Wilton's cake dyes because that way they're not toxic. So that's what I did. And now Wilton's has this really cool, it's liquid. It's little bottles of liquid, and they're much easier to mix, and you can get, I feel, a much broader range of colors than the gel. The gel is kind of hard to use. Usually I would heat up the water in the tea kettle so that the gel kind of melted down to mix it up in the water. But these ones work great. I have some pictures. And all I do, I just pop them in the microwave. That's how I set them. But here's what it looked like when I was dyeing them up. And then this is the yarn drying on the deck there. And I have, when I started the shawl, this was my picture for when I started the shawl. So all I did was I took one skein of yarn and I broke it up because essentially it divided by 8, which is how many colors you needed and how many yards you needed, so I just broke it up. And the main color one was actually one that I had in my stash that I had dyed a long time ago. And it's working out really well for it. I did dye a full skein also to use with this one, but it did not at all come out like what I wanted with the cake dyes, so it wasn't going to work. I can use it for socks or another shawl or something, but it did not work for this project. So luckily I had this other yarn in my stash. So I am probably halfway, if not almost halfway. And it's going to end up a triangle when it's done, but it's a sideways. So that's what I've got so far, and I'm really happy with it, and the colors and everything. It's a lot of fun. So, and actually I was worried because when I broke up the skein to do the 8 colors, I just did it by weight and kind of like eyeballed it. And when I was done winding the 8 skeins, I had this much yarn left over, which was a little scary because I was like, oh, I hope those aren't short. So what I did was I just broke up the leftover and tossed a little tiny mini skein in with a couple of the colors. I didn't quite have 8 of them. And just in case I ran out. That way I would still have something to finish off the section with. But actually, it's working out perfectly fine because these are leftovers of the colors that I already did. So I had plenty. And it worked out fine. And this is great because now I have more bits for my sock yarn blanket. So I was really happy with that. And that's going well. And the deadline is August 31st, so I'm sure I will be able to finish it by then. That should not be a problem at all. It's pretty much all I've been working on. Also for this project, just for my own curiosity, because a lot of times I don't really have an answer. I mean, I have a general ballpark answer, but, and I'm sure this has happened to many of you. You show family members or friends your socks, your sweater, your shawl, and they're like, oh, you should sell those. And you and I know that unless somebody wants to pay $400 for their shawl, it's just not worth it. I mean, if you don't want the item and you just like making them and you want to get some cash back for buying more yarn and stuff, then that's absolutely fine and that would work out perfectly for you. But to actually make money off of it or actually get paid for your time more than 8 cents an hour, you know, it's totally not worth it. So I was just curious, and I have been listening to an audiobook while I've been knitting on this, and either using a stopwatch timer or just going from the audiobook timer to see how much time it actually takes to knit the shawl, because I was just curious. And so far, I was really, actually I don't even need my tablet because I know what it is. The first section, which was the oranges, was 6.5 hours. I was actually really surprised because I don't knit slow. I'm not the fastest knitter, but I'm not the slowest knitter. 6.5 hours just for that. For the green section, ending with this one, was 4 3/4 hours. So I'm actually, it's probably longer than I actually think. So I was just curious because I've never done that. You know, it's never been anything I needed to do, keep track of the time I took. So I was just going to do it totally like really good timekeeping for this project because I'm just very curious how long it takes to knit a shawl. Maybe someday I'll do it with socks, but like I said, it's not a huge deal. I don't really care, but I really wanted to know a good accurate time measurement because I can, like I said, ballpark. You know, you sat here for an hour this day, or you know, you knit half an hour that day, but it's never really been calculated. So we'll see how long the shawl actually takes when I finish it. It should be interesting. I do still have the stitch surfers. I have not been working on them because I've been working on the shawl, but I did have the one sock done that I showed before. And this is in the Mustache Yarns, one of the Star Wars colorways, droids. And by the way, the next installment is out. It's Yoda and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and yes, I have purchased it. So that should be coming soon. I did the 2 companion half skeins again, so I'll probably do the same as I did with the C3PO socks, and just because I can get a pair of socks out of half a skein of yarn usually. It's around, what did I figure out before? 26 or so. I don't remember the numbers at all. I should just shut up now because I'm totally messing this up. I can get a whole pair of socks out of half a skein of yarn. So the fact that these are half skeins put together, which ends up being a whole, they're separate, but that's 100 grams. I can then divide those in half, so I have 4 balls of yarn and get 2 pairs of socks, is what I'm getting at. So I'm probably going to do that with those ones. That's all I've been working on for knitting and crochet and stuff. I have a ton of spinning to show you because it was Tour de Fleece, and we are on to string theory. So I have 3 finished skeins. I could not believe it. Because past years, I've always had, like, you know, piles of fiber I think I'm going to spin, and I never even ended up with a skein. I typically, my default spinning is really thin. Like, I can probably 4-ply it and still have a light fingering weight by the time I'm done. So, I was working on spinning thicker. And I would have just been happy if I spun thicker and the yarn was lumpy, bumpy, and a mess. That would have been fine with me. I wouldn't really have cared. I spun thicker, and my yarn actually came out really good, so that was a pleasant surprise. The first one I did was Into the World Corriedale in the colorway Flounce, and I spun a thicker single, and then I Navajo plied it to keep the colors together, and also to get a thicker yarn with the 3 plies. And it came out pretty darn consistently, and it came out bulky. I could not believe it. I would have been happy if I got like a DK. So this one came out really, really good, and I was very happy with it, and that was the first one I did. Also, I had never spun Corriedale. I might have spun a little bit on a spindle before, but I never spun a lot of it. I like it a lot. It's not a super soft yarn. It's a longer wool, so it's a little harsher, but it's a really nice fiber to spin. It's a lot of fun to spin. So that was the first skein that I had. The second skein I did a 2-ply, and I picked BFL, which I've spun many, many times, and it's actually my favorite fiber to spin because it's a lot softer. It's a long wool still, so it has the long wool properties, but it's really soft, and you can wear it next to your skin. This is also Into the World because I have a enormous Into the World stash downstairs because I'm in their club. This is a worsted. It is thicker and thinner, and it's also a 2-ply, so there weren't a lot of plies to round out the yarn and get rid of the unevenness, but it's still pretty good and fairly consistent. And it's worsted, I think I just said, right? So that was Eureka in BFL, and I was happy with that one also. Then, the last one, since I had already gotten 2 skeins, I decided to do something with color. So what I did was I took the fiber and I split out, actually I can show you because I have pictures, that would be helpful, wouldn't it? I split out the colors. I didn't completely blend them, I didn't do any carding or anything like that, but I made piles of the colors so that they were kind of uniform. Because Into the World typically dyes, you know, 3 or 4 or 5 colors, and if you pull out the whole fiber, the whole top, they're all throughout. there's this color, and they're you know, mixed and mingled a little bit. So what I did was I pulled out the colors, kind of eyeballing it, you know, that was fine. And I split them into piles, and then I got gallon Ziploc bags. I labeled them 1, 2, 3, 4, and I put the colors together in there, and then I spun them from one to the other. So it's kind of a gradient, but like I said, I didn't blend anything. So some of it kind of barber poles, and some of it does some other things, but I'm totally fine with that. I have no problem with that at all. And oh, now my tablet's ignoring me. Alright, never mind. Tablet does not want to cooperate. So that's how I did it, and then I just spun it up. And I got a sport weight Navajo ply. This is Targhee, which I have also never spun before, and I said it felt like Polworth on crack. Polworth is a very crimpy fiber, and this stuff was just crazy. It was like, this yarn is so elastic, and it was a lot of fun to spin, and it was really easy to spin. And here's my finished skein. So this one does go from the darker purple to the bluish to the greenish to the yellow. It is pretty much a gradient, but like I said, it's got some like barber poling and some other things in there because I didn't blend the fiber. But that's fine. I actually like barber poling. So that is what I did for Tour de Fleece, and I was super happy. I also did continue to work on the supported spinning. I did want to finish those. My goal was 1 skein of yarn on the wheel and to finish the supported spinning, but I was having so much fun on the wheel, I just continued. And I did, though, still keep up with my supported spinning. So all that I have left of my fluffy bump is this much, which is not a lot at all. And I finished 3 of the spindles that I was working on. Do this without damaging anything. So I finished those 3. And the last one I'm still working on. The rest of that fiber will go on the last spindle in that spin, and I don't want to pull it out, but it's right here. So I'll fill that one up and then I'll ply them. I think I'm just going to do a 2-ply, so I pretty much split the fiber in half and then split it in half again and assigned each quarter to a spindle. So hopefully they're around the same yardage, it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to wind them onto my lazy Kate that I made out of a plastic basket, and then just try and bit splice them together so that I have 2 holes and then 2-ply them on the spindle. That's the plan. I don't know how it's going to work out, but we'll see. Then I have, I still have fiber on the road bug. That's going to take forever because I was doing a fingering weight gradient and I'm doing it and spinning it really thin. I still have the, I think it was the May spin in the Yarn Therapy Zone on the Texas Jean spindles, also spinning it super, super thin, so that's going to take forever also. For August, it's Snyder. And I've showed Snyder before because I absolutely love his spindles. And the price is excellent. He does Turkish, he does drop, he does some new things, which I'll show you in a minute. But this one, I just pulled out some more into the world. Are you surprised? And I'm just spinning that up on, just for fun. I really have no plans for it. I really don't know what I'm doing. I grabbed one of my newer Turkish spindles from him that I actually haven't used before, and I don't even know if you can see them anymore. Not really, but there's hummingbirds on that one. And I'm trying to spin a little bit thicker and see how that goes. This is a bigger spindle, so that's probably a good idea. And also, since this is a bigger spindle, I usually use much smaller ones that are like this big. I'm doing like a temporary cop. I've seen people do this before, but I've never done it before because I really didn't have a need to because my spindle was smaller. Since this is so big, I can spin a lot quicker without having to stop to wind onto the cop, so that's working out good. I will give you a little tip because I've never done it before. I didn't realize when you wind the temporary cop, when you get to the last bit and you're going to do your half hitch again, put it on one of the legs, because if you don't, it will unravel while you're spinning. But that's going well, and I'm liking this fiber. This is just BFL. Again, it might be superwash, I don't remember. So that's what I'm spinning right now. And I think that's it for string theory. So, moving on. Scrolls, we have nothing. No book reviews this episode. The next section is testaments, which is purchases and prizes I won during Tour de Fleece. So I think what I'm going to do is pause here because my camera only records for 29 minutes before the file size stops. So I'm going to pause here because this section is going to be a little long. So I'll be right back. Okay, on to testaments. So purchases. I purchased Snyder Spindles. A lot of the spindle makers now, you may have seen them before. Oh, I meant to look up how to pronounce it before I'm not even going to try. It's a Scottish drop spindle. So I got one because I was just curious what they're like to spin on. It kind of reminds me of a Turkish, the way it spins, but it is a little bit different. So I don't have any fiber on it right now. I did try it out when I got it. It also serves as a nostopin because when the way you wind on here is essentially the same as a nostopin, so you can also use it for that. And the yarn, so you wind onto the body of it, and then you come down here into one of these crosses and go back up and do a half hitch, and that part is what holds it on, that it's going through that cross. So this is the one that I have. And they come in, they primarily have the same shape. Some of them have a little bit of a different bottom, it's a little more stylish. Some do not have the notch for the half hitch, some do, it doesn't really matter, because it'll still work. And yeah, it's really cool. I like it. It's pretty cool. Then I have knit one before, and I loved it, and ever since then, anybody I knew has had baby boys. This is the Baby Mine Sweater by Stephanie Pearl McPhee. And I've been dying to knit another one. A coworker at work was talking about organizing a baby shower for her friend, and it's a baby girl. And I was like, do you want a baby sweater? So I showed her the one I made before, and she was like, oh yeah, absolutely. And I even like that color. And I was like, okay, great. I'm pretty sure that yarn's discontinued, but I'm sure I can find something similar. And I did. The yarn I used on the previous one was Knit Picks Stroll Sport. That yarn's not discontinued, but that color, that was several years ago, so they don't have that color right now. But I found pretty much the same color in Cascades Superwash 220. So I have 2 skeins of that for the baby sweater. And I got it from the Loopy U. I don't know if I said that already. So while I was buying that, I was just perusing a little bit, and I had seen this before. Somebody on Ravelry had it. It's the Slytherin colorway. It's self-striping sock yarn in Slytherin from Very Colorful Yarnings. And I had to get it because why not? So that's that. D-stash. I have officially decided after this month, or now, it should be now, I am not looking at that D-stash thread on Ravelry. No, because it's fine, because in the past I've done this before. I got my wheels like the same year at fiber festivals and a bunch of other stuff. I went to 3 fiber festivals one year, you know, got a whole bunch of stuff. And then I was on like a diet for a couple years and I didn't buy anything new, and except for occasional stuff. But the spindle thing is really getting out of control now. So one of them was, although I would probably buy another one of these in a second if I saw one. I love Threads Through Time Turkish spindles. They're my favorite spindles. I started with one, and I really like them. I like the diamond wood, although I don't know that anybody can really get diamond wood anymore. And because the factory that made it burned down, and they're not rebuilding it, and nobody else is in the market. But they changed their shafts, like last year, I think, and I don't like the new ones. Everybody else raves about them and wanted the lighter weight. I don't like it. So anytime I see the old styles, I grab them because they don't make them like this anymore. So this one I got is Spalted Tamarind, and I don't know what the shaft is, but whatever. It might be diamond wood, I don't know, but that's what it is. So I'll show you the difference. I probably should have thought about this earlier. So that's the old style, and the new style looks like this. And so, I mean, it's fine. The look is fine, but the weight is very, very different. But that's how you can tell the difference between the new ones and the old ones, is it looks very different. But I don't like the lighter weight. I like the heavier weight, so I prefer the older style ones. So I grabbed that one when I saw it. And then I got... well, August was the Snyder Spindle Spin. I was just perusing that thread again, you know, whatever. And I saw this one, and he doesn't make these anymore. I haven't seen these in a while. It's like a Celtic knot drop spindle. It's really cool. It's a nice spindle. It spins really good. So I grabbed that one. And what else did I get? This one's a little crazy, and this is the one where I was like, you need to stop now. Somebody was destashing quite a few, actually, but I only bought one. Glass spins. So, I really liked the colors. It's like a purpley, I'm not a huge fan of yellow, but when it goes with purple and green, hello Halloween. So I grabbed this one, and it was funny because she wanted to make sure, because it's a glass tip, she wanted to make sure it didn't get damaged in shipping. It came in a humongous box, and she even messaged me that. She was like, it's gonna come in a huge box. The box was probably 4 feet long, and it was a triangle, but it was probably like this big. This is funny. So that's the D-Stash one. I did want to show you my other one. When they had first started making them, I paid full price for it, which is fine, but they had asked people what they wanted, and they were kind of trying to develop them. So my original one is actually shorter because I asked for a shorter one, and it's lighter. This is the original one that I got, and it's a green and a purple and sparkles. So now I have 2, and that's probably enough. I don't know about you, but, you know, we Navajo ply, we chain ply. I always feel like a spindle needs a mate. Like, not all of my spindles, but a lot of my spindles kind of have a mate that looks different, but is a similar weight and type. I don't know, I just have a thing about that. Maybe I have OCD. We've talked about this before. So those were my recent D-Stash acquisitions. I really need to stop looking at that thread. It's really getting ridiculous. So, now we're on to prizes. So these are things I didn't really buy. One of them I did because it was a gift certificate, so I had to pay a little bit, but that was fine. But these are my prizes. One of them isn't an actual thing. Into the World. I won a 25% off coupon code gift certificate, so I will have more Into the World at some point. It's good through like the end of the year, I think. I have to go look it up and jot it down, but so there will be more Into the World, like I don't have enough already. The clay sheep on Yarn Therapy Zone, I won a couple of things actually, and one of them was a gift certificate to the clay sheep, and so I bought a spindle. I already had one, but now I'm super happy because it has a mate. This is my old one that I already had. So the whirl is clay, and this is the one that I got with my prize. So now it has a mate. See, they're the same size and weight. So that's the new one. It's really cool. And yeah, that's my old one. They're super fun. They're really pretty. So that's that one. Hold please while I put it down without damaging it. And then, oh, I got some yarn, which is really cool yarn. I think it's lace weight. Does it say on here? I think it's lace weight. It's interlacement zigzag. It's like 725 yards. I'm pretty sure it's lace weight. It's just really cool. It's almost like a spiral ply yarn. Nice colors too. So that's cool. And what else? Oh, I also have another spindle coming. I have a Turkish spindle coming from Australia, so it's going to take a little bit. They shipped it out the other day, but it might be like 10 days from Aussie, FW Aussie spindles, so that's super exciting because I don't have any of those. And also, I have fiber all over me, I'm sorry. Blaine Fleece and Fiber. She was kind enough, she gave everybody a little prize, so that was super fun. She made up some buttons and sent everybody a little bit of fiber from one of her sheep. So I got, what did I get? I think I got Mikey. I got Mikey. They're Icelandic He's Icelandic. Some of them are Icelandic, some of them are like mixed breeds, and now she's got a new one that I have fiber for. I don't know if I showed it before. She's a Hampshire something cross, Daisy. I don't know, but she's got nice like downy, short, stapled fiber. So I have a little bit of fiber to play with, and also a super cute stitch marker. It's a little sheep. So that was fun, and everybody got something out of that group. And then she also had prizes that people won, too. So that was a lot of fun. That group was a ton of fun, too, with the participants. We all chatted a lot, and it was a really good time. Yarn Therapy Zone was fun, too. Into the World was fun. Those are the 3 groups that I was in. Alright, so that's all the stuff. Sometimes I forget things, but I'm pretty sure I haven't this time. So, in the past, I'm sure I've forgotten to show something. I'm sure I have, like, 5 spindles that you've never seen, but intentions, Delusional Narrow Designs. I don't have any new designs. I don't really have anything in the works right now. But Oaken, that I showed on the last episode, and I had it free for a couple of days until July 4th because it was based off of a character's KAL in Independence Day, so I figured that was a good promotion. 1,156 downloads. I couldn't believe it. I said before, I don't know if I said it on the podcast, but I just shut the Gmail notification off on my phone because it was driving me crazy. Because I'd get a ding every time somebody downloaded it with the coupon code. It was crazy. A couple of those were purchased, maybe like 5 or 6 were actual purchases because maybe somebody didn't see the coupon code, or it was a little while after the coupon code because this number I just got this morning. But while the coupon code was on, it got up to 1,100 at least, if not more. So that was a lot of fun. Hogwarts at Ravelry. I have the study haul right now on spinning, and that's a lot of fun. I did want to mention there's still the Summer of Squares knit along is going on the Sock Yarn Swappers group. That was from May till August 27th, so you can still do that. There's some prizes and all kinds of other stuff going on over there. Actually, knitting the KAL is still going on until September 15th. That one is the podcaster knit along, so all of the designs that are eligible for you to knit on that knit along have to be from a podcaster that's a designer. And a lot of them gave coupon codes and stuff like that, so check that one out if you haven't. The Epic knit along on my group. I wrote down the numbers. I've already done the draw. I wrote down the numbers, but I didn't write down the people. So you'll just have to check the board. Obviously if you're a winner, I'll ear burn you, so you'll know. But oh shoot, and I forgot to grab the other bag. Hang on one second. You know what? I put it in the closet. I remember now. It's a drawstring bag from Art Institute. It was the Wizard of Oz themed. I did show it before. So that's going to be prize number 1. Prize number 2, I showed before. I had a cute little sheep notebook, so I got another one for a prize. That's this one. And I am also going to give you one of my favorite pens to use. I have them here, but they're Pilot G2. They're my favorite pens that I'm writing with right now. So that's prize number 2. And then prize number 3, I'm going to do a Ravelry pattern gifted to the winner, their choice of pattern, up to $5. So check the board because I'll have the winners on there shortly after the podcast goes up. Traveling Monsters. I don't know if that ended already the last time I podcasted. Anyway, I have my luchador back. And I will go at some point and put together all my photos of my visitors. But like I said before, this one, I was excited because it was less monsters. Because I think when I did it last year, there were like 10. And by the time we got to like 7, it was like, ugh, I don't even want to do this anymore. But I was so busy, or it was so hot out, or we didn't do anything, that I didn't really get a ton of pictures and stuff with my visitors. But whatever, I'll do it again because it's fun. And that's it. No new podcasts. I do have some Ravelry patterns for you. It's getting really hot in here, by the way, too. With the lights on, it gets a little toasty. Let's see. I have Share Kitty by Jenny Stacy, and it's free, which I was surprised because it uses DK. It's a super cute stuffy. Oh, it's so cute. Star Wars sweater by Natalie Meredith. I don't know that I would knit this. It actually doesn't look that complicated. And it's not that I wouldn't knit it because I don't like it. Obviously, I wouldn't be showing it to you if I didn't like it. It does look a little involved. But it is ridiculously awesome. Star Wars sweater. It's got lightsabers. It's got the Death Star. It's pretty amazing. Let me show you. The back has Darth Vader, I think. Yep. So that's pretty cool. It is $12, but it is a sweater. And comes in 3 sizes. It uses sport weight yarn. So, I mean, it looks like it's got a ton of charts, so I don't think $12 is ridiculous. Most sweaters are usually $7 or $8 anyway, so, but it looks like there's a lot of color work and a lot of charting was done on this. The other one I have is the Hanging Towel by Heidi Yates. That is a crochet pattern. It's free, worsted, I'm sure, cotton yarn. I just really liked this one because it's just like a granny square, like, I don't know what, double crochet clusters, I think. I'm not the crochet expert. So that's really cute. That would be fun to make. Those probably work up really fast too. And the last one I have for you is Pixel Rise. It's a sock pattern. It's great for using up leftover bits, and it's $3. Why did I have 5 earlier? Is it on sale right now? It might be on sale right now. If you're interested, you might want to go get it now because I'm positive that was $5 when I looked at it this morning. It's really cool. So it's using some either slip stitches or whatever, but with the bits that you have, they're kind of blending into each other, and that's where the pixel part's coming from because it kind of looks pixelated. So that one's really cool. I'm pretty sure I'm going to go buy that as soon as I'm done. Because I swear that was $5 before. Okay, so those are your Ravelry patterns. Bullet journaling. I was awful in July, probably because all I did was spin, so I got really behind in my bullet journal. I'm getting back into it in August. Like, my tracker for July was... Also, I tried something new in July, and I think I hate it. I was doing dots instead of coloring in the squares, and I really didn't like it. So I had dots, and then I had blank, and then I had some squares filled in. It was really horrible. It was awful. So August, I'm getting back to it. And hopefully get some more things organized and get back onto that. What else do I have? I haven't been doing any other arts and crafts. Reading. I listened to, while doing Tour de Fleece, a whole book. It wasn't a super long book, but Mark Tufo, who does all the zombie Fallout books that I love, has a new series, and it's called United States of Apocalypse. And I don't think it has anything to do with zombies, but maybe in the future it does. I don't know, but essentially it's like World War III, but it's from the perspective of 2 characters on different sides of the U.S., and they have no idea what's going on. So it would be like if you were in it, like, you know, power's going down, people are starting to loot, nobody knows what's going on, there's very little information on the television when you do have power, when you have a generator or something. It's getting less and less and stuff like that. So that was the first one. I was slightly upset. I did not realize. I thought this was a standalone novel. It's clearly not because it ended on a cliffhanger. So as the audiobook was getting down towards the end, and there's 10 minutes left, and then 5 minutes left, and then 2 minutes left, I'm over here spinning, and I'm like, what is happening? What is happening? Because this is not getting wrapped up. What is going on? Then I realized it's not a standalone novel. It's clearly the first novel in a new series. So that happened. The other thing I've been listening to now, Audible never had them for a long time, and now they do. All the Harry Potter books are on Audible, so I've been buying those up. I have to wait for my next credit. I usually have a couple of credits banked. You can carry over like 6, and then you get one new one a month. I usually had 3 or 4 left over that were up there. I've wiped them out now, so I have to wait for the next credit to get the next book. However, excuse me, I have that allergy throat thing again. I'm on the Goblet of Fire right now, and if you've never read Harry Potter or listened to it, the first couple of books are really short, then they get longer and longer and longer and longer and longer, so I should be fine. This book will probably not be done by the time I get my next credit, so that should be fine. TV, I've caught up almost on The Last Ship. I was really behind on that, like a whole season. I like that one a lot. It's really good. I like the characters. Of course, Adam Baldwin. Baldwin? Is that his last name? I think so. This is really horrible. I just had a brain fart in the middle of saying his name. I know his first name's Adam. Jane Cobb from Firefly is in it, so I will continue to watch it forever anyway, because I really like him. Except he's not his typical typecast character. He's not like a crazy maniac in this one. He's a military guy, so. But I still like him a lot, so I'll watch it. And Preacher. I might be one episode behind on now. I got caught up on Preacher, and I like that one a lot. That's based on a comic book that I've never read, but you gotta get over the first and second episode, and even my friend said that, who does read the comics. Also, the first episode, it kind of just drops you right in it, and you have no idea what's happening. And once you get over the first and second episode, then it's really, really good. Not that the first and second episode are bad, I just feel like you're confused because you don't know any of these people and you have no idea what's going on, and they're all like in the middle of the story and you're like, what is happening? So, but it's really, really good. And I think that's it. That's all that's been going on. Now I have to clean up my room because I'm in a mess. And I was going to do some spinning today if it doesn't get too hot in here. So, I did have one other thing to show that was so cute. Two young girls, I don't know how old they were, I wasn't there when they dropped them off, but two young girls made bracelets for all of us at the police department and dropped them off. They're those paracord bracelets, and they're the blue line, and they had little handcuff things on them. They're so cute. Now mine, of course, they obviously made them for a majority of average people that worked at the police department. So mine, the other dispatcher and I took it apart, moved the handcuffs, had to watch YouTube to figure out how to do the knots, and put it back together so that it actually fits me, because it was probably twice this size, but which was fine because they weren't wrong. Most people are a lot bigger than me. My wrist is ridiculously small, so now it fits me. So super cute, super sweet, and we've all been wearing them at work. All the officers and all the dispatchers have been wearing them all week. It was really sweet. And I think that's it for this episode. So thank you for joining me. I hope it's not super hot where you are. I have crazy hair because I just took a shower and started recording, so I have my crazy curly hair going on. But come on over to the Ravelry board, because I'd really like to chit-chat with everybody and see what's going on, see what you did for Tour de Fleece and all that stuff. And I will see you hopefully not too long from now. I'll probably not record again in the month of August. I'll probably record in the beginning of September. I did want to show, because I can't bring the actual thing out here. My husband's birthday's in July. I found him like one of the coolest presents ever. He really likes sharks, and I got him, if you've ever watched Shark Week, Chris Fallows, he lives in Africa. I'm sorry. And he does if you've ever seen the air jaws where they jump out of the water, he does that. It was from a few years ago. He does that one, and that's him. And he's kind of got almost like an English accent, and he's white, and he has got like reddish hair. And so this is actually the picture, the photograph that like really made his career explode, but it's one of my favorites. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to do like two things at the same time. Where are the pictures? So what I did was I bought my husband an 18 by 12 photograph. I had to frame it. It's this one. I had to frame it because it's coming from Africa. They obviously are not going to send it in a box, so it came in a tube, just the photograph. I had to frame it. I had to cut this thing, and I almost lost it because, first of all, it wasn't cheap. as it shouldn't be. And it was signed by Chris Fallows. It was 12 by 18 exactly, with a 1/2 inch border of photograph paper. You can buy a 12 by 18 frame. You can buy a 13 by 19 frame. Now I could have got a 13 by 19 frame and matted it, but I didn't want to mess around too much. So I ended up trimming the 1/2 inch border off, which worked out fine. Although outside of the frame, it's not too pretty. His signature was still within the frame and everything was great. But it's this, that's the photograph that I got. But it's big, it's 12 by 18. It's really impressive. It looks really cool. And I got a really nice frame. So, that was super exciting. I was so happy. He was really happy with it. He loved it. So, this weekend is our 5th wedding anniversary. And we are going up to New Hampshire. That's where we got married. And we're going to go stay at the resort that we stayed at when we got married. His parents live up there, but they bought us a hotel room because it was our wedding night. So they didn't make us, like, sleep in their guest room. So we're going to go up there and just hang out for... We're going up Friday night. We'll be there Saturday. We'll be there for part of Sunday. And then we're probably going to come home Sunday because we have the cats. We don't want to leave them for too long. I'll probably ask my friend to stop by and make sure they're okay. But that should be fun. I hope the weather's good. I hope it's not super hot because I was worried about leaving the cats at home. You know, I don't want them croaking. They're fine. I mean, they'll just chill out and everything, but I don't, you know, I get really nervous. They're my babies. So that should be that, and then you'll see stuff from whatever we did there. I'm sure we'll get some pictures and stuff, but that's it for this episode. I'm going to go cool off. I have some water here, but my bottle's sweating really bad. That's how hot it is in here right now. I thank you for joining me. Please come on the Ravelry board and say hello, and happy knitting and spinning.